Let the magic begin.
Not a place on the map, but a state of mind that exists wherever people dream and wonder and imagine.
It's not so much a theme park as a state of mind, a Hollywood that never was and will always be.
Ready when you are, CB!
This is News Today with WDW News Today. I'm Tom Corliss of WDWNT.com. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell to make sure you never miss the latest from the Disney theme parks all around the world. Here now the news for Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2024. Walt Disney World has unveiled the opening season for Tiana's Bayou adventure at the Magic Kingdom. Guests will get swept up in Princess Tiana's world as the highly anticipated attraction will open in the summer of 2024. When in the summer? Well, if we knew that, we'd tell you rather than telling you summer of 2024. That's all we know. That is a lot sooner than many originally anticipated. That means it's roughly an 18-month time frame on the transition from Splash Mountain to Tiana's Bayou adventure. But nonetheless, Disney also shared a first look at the Tiana animatronic, or as we're calling it, the Tianimatronic, in her new adventure outfit, which was created specifically for this attraction. Disney unveiled that outfit back in July of 2022. She'll appear in that outfit in meet and greets starting when 1900 Park Fair returns in just a few weeks' time, actually. That'll be the first time we've seen it other than some press video. The post did not include a firm update for Tiana's Bayou adventure at Disneyland, which is currently under construction. They simply said that will open at the happiest place on earth later in 2024. You know we're going to stop and talk about this. She looks so good. This figure is fantastic. This is of the same make and quality as what we saw, number one, in Enchanted Tale of Beauty and the Beast in Tokyo Disneyland. Which I have a full honest review of that and the whole Fantasyland expansion in Japan as well. You could go watch. We also have video of just that ride if you want to watch it. And then also very reminiscent of what we just saw in Hong Kong, the new Frozen Ever After, which you could also watch an honest review and a ride video of on this channel. I'll plug the entire back catalog on today's show. But no, I mean, this is of that same quality, what we're going to see in Fantasy Springs with all the figures in those attractions. We're seeing the U.S. finally get some love, right? And more specifically, Walt Disney World, right? You know, even with the greatest attractions of the last several years, like Rise of the Resistance, its weak point probably is its animatronics. I mean, they're not wildly different. They are all electric figures, just like these are. That's all the current generation stuff. But she looks like she's jumped out of the movie. I think it's great. There's gonna be dozens of figures throughout the ride. You know, it is a tall order to replace Splash Mountain, but everything we keep seeing looks great. I've yet to see anything. Like I've said before, the one thing I'm concerned about, I think, is the story. If that's going to connect with people, if the absence of a villain is a problem for the attraction, you know, that's what's up in the air. But as far as like quality of content, I think they are doing the best they can do. So high hopes there. Like I've said before, you know, every time I pass by the Chinese theater at Hollywood Studios, I have resentment, right? Because I just don't think Runaway Railway is that great. And meanwhile, you know, you pass it in Toontown at Disneyland, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll go on that. That's fine. Yeah, sure. I like that queue. And the ride's fine. But it's just so lackluster in comparison as a park icon, right? And it's really because of what it replaced. And so it's Splash, like it's a tall order. You are replacing one of the most iconic and beloved attractions of all time, something that was synonymous, right? Like, you know, we have to put it in the same sentence as Pirates and Haunted Mansion and Small World because it reached that status in the 30-something years it existed around the world. It definitely reached that point. So this is a tall order, but like I said previously, I think they picked the right franchise, right? I mean, you know, Splash had tremendous music, and you've picked a Disney movie with a tremendous soundtrack. You're putting great new animatronic figures in, which will be the most advanced in all of Walt Disney World. and Disneyland for that matter. They haven't had a new figure in a while either. So again, it looks promising. They're pulling this off in an 18-month time frame, which good for them at a time when people are real, what's the word I'm looking for? People have been real angry about their construction timelines for a long time, right? So it's nice to see them pull something off in a really reasonable amount of time. I don't remember if Frozen Ever After they even pulled that off in 18 months or it got delayed a little bit. That June 2016. Well, Maelstrom closed in September of 2014. No, they were way over 18 months. So they were chugging along on this thing, man. So that's great. Again, we don't know when in the summer. Like, summer does go to September, but let's not forget, especially if you're an international viewer, that American summer, what we consider the start of the summer season for theme parks, is Memorial Day weekend. That's the end of May. So my guess would be sometime between Memorial Day and 4th of July is when we're going to get this attraction. We'll wait and see if that's true, but that would be my guess. Things don't often open much later than 4th of July weekend, and certainly not after July, typically, if they're going to market them as summer. Typically, I think if something's going to open in August or later, they end up usually saying fall. So I would say sooner rather than later, we are going to get this attraction. Let me know in the comments how you feel. I know it's uncharacteristic of me to be optimistic, but I have been as of late, and this is all I've asked for. If you go back again, and people will be like, oh, because you're on the media list. If you have to look at this logically. Go back and watch those honest reviews, especially the Beauty and the Beast one. And my review is that look at all these animatronics. You're building rides with all these animatronics, which is what you're known for, immerses you deeply in the story. That's what I asked for. And if they're doing what I asked for, how can I be negative in the lead up when everything I've seen is in direct response to critiques I've had, right? So, but let me know how you feel in the comments. Earlier this month, a guest was spotted in the rivers of America at the Magic Kingdom after falling or jumping from a Tom Sawyer Island raft. We now know the full story as we've spoken to the individual who fell in, who asked to be referred to in this report simply as Storm. When recounting the incident, Storm, who is a disabled U.S. Navy veteran and retired swiftwater rescuer, explained that he suffers from TBI, that's traumatic brain injury, and has equilibrium issues as a result. His service dog, Tinkerbell, can alert him when a balance issue is impending. And before boarding the raft, Tinkerbell alerted Storm, and he responded by going to sit upon a box that's attached to the raft. He says he has done this many times before and that cast members have been understanding of his condition and advised him to be safe and sit there. Usually, in the cases where Tinkerbell does alert me, he said, cast members always allow me to sit on the box. This time, however, was the first time, according to him, that a cast member would not allow him to sit on the box to stabilize himself, despite being alerted that he was having an issue by his service animal. When he stood up from the box after being told to do so by the cast member, Storm stated that he lost balance and blacked out, and when he came to, he was in the rivers of America, having fallen over the raft's railing. His service dog was still on the raft with his wife, which you can see in the image. He informed us that the water is deeper than it looks and that there was a strong current that he felt was 3 times stronger than Castaway Creek, the lazy river at Typhoon Lagoon. As the current pulled Storm towards the shore of Tom Sawyer Island, he considered attempting to swim to shore, but stayed put after being told to do so by security cast members. He made sure to float on his back to keep from ingesting the water or being taken by the current. Quote, I was not afraid of the gators. Gators were of no concern to me. It's what happened to 2 other people prior, which happened at Disneyland, that's drowning, and it's the current which drowns them. Here, Storm is referring to 2 separate incidents that occurred at Disneyland Park in 73 and 83, in which 2 guests sadly drowned in the rivers of America. If you ever wondered why that happened, I mean, yeah, we always talk about, and I know a lot of the comments said the river's not very deep, but in honesty, it's probably deep enough. Eventually, Storm was brought out of the rivers of America by a fire rescue team who he says discussed the idea of adding benches to the rafts for those with mobility and balance issues. Storm says that he's been asking for this change for over 10 years. Storm hopes the incident can be a wake-up call to make sure that safety comes before corporate policy. Anyone who even tries doing this, I'm lucky I survived. I'm very lucky I survived because of the current, because of the condition I was in. I definitely could have drowned. So there's the answer to the question of exactly what happened in that situation. Glad he's okay. And yeah, I mean, you know, this is one of those, there's a lot of attractions, and you think about Disneyland. Disneyland, because of California state law, over the years has been very good about making older attractions compliant. But at Walt Disney World, there are a lot of things that are grandfathered. The People Mover is one of those things, right? Why there's still not an elevator that goes to the People Mover. The Tom Sawyer Island rafts probably fall under that jurisdiction. They're about as old as the People Mover. They opened in the 70s. And you would think they are under no legal obligation to add a bench. But I will tell you, I remember a time, I don't think my parents had been to the island in 20 or 30 years. And I decided to take them. Actually, I think we went to Disneyland, because it was their first trip to Disneyland, and I wanted them to see the pirate stuff. And my mother, you know, like she's fine walking, but there are people who don't want to use a wheelchair, right? They don't want to depend on a wheelchair. They'll use a cane, or they want to be able to walk freely and then rest when it's time to rest. And you know, there's no real good place to lean or anything on there. And it's silly that there's not just a tiny bench somewhere on there for those with mobility issues, or just for elderly guests, whoever may need it. It probably would cost not much at all to do that. That being said, maybe there's some other compliance stuff that would have to be changed once you spend that money. I don't know, but nonetheless, it seems like a valid claim. It seems like a valid claim. To celebrate Valentine's Day 2024, many Disney character couples were out for special meet and greets at Walt Disney World. It's not often that the princes are out with their princesses, so we rushed out to the Magic Kingdom and Epcot to visit them for this one-day-only offering. Princess Tiana and Naveen could be found in the Enchanted Glade Gazebo in Liberty Square behind the old Christmas shop. Peter Pan and Wendy were roaming in Fantasyland hand in hand, waving to guests as they passed by. Snow White and Prince Florian, yes, that's his name, were meeting guests on Main Street, USA, outside near the Town Square Theater. Flynn Rider and Rapunzel also met today at the Enchanted Glade Gazebo. They switched off with Tiana and Naveen. This couple was certainly the most popular to visit during our time. You can see the line was quite long. And Gaston, ever in love with himself, met alone for Valentine's Day with a mirror in hand that you could pose with him for a photo. Aurora and Prince Philip were roaming in Fantasyland as well, meeting guests as a surprise and delight. And guests were able to meet Belle and the Beast today in the France Pavilion at Epcot, as well as in Fantasyland. Mulan and Li Shang topped off the day, meeting guests in China at Epcot. I think that's probably, Li Shang might be the rarest in that group, but a super cool offering. This is great to see Disney doing one-day stuff like this. Again, I think these are signs of healing, right? We're seeing little special surprise and delight things show up in the budget, and guests get to benefit from that. More of this, please. Would love to see more things like this. 7 years after the Starring Rolls Cafe and Bakery at Disney's Hollywood Studios closed, the cafe sign has finally been removed. Starring Rolls Cafe is attached to the back of the Hollywood Brown Derby to the right in the photo you're looking at now. It closed after Trolley Car Cafe, the park's Starbucks, opened, making the Starring Rolls redundant. Of course, that also got rid of the Villains Bakery that was next door at Villains in Vogue. Tables and chairs have remained in the area even after the cafe closed. It's still a popular place to sit and relax. The sign remained on the top of the roof, just covered by a red scrim for the past several years, but it's now finally gone, leaving one metal support where it used to be. The red umbrellas at the cafe tables also used to be branded Starring Rolls, but they were replaced years ago. For comparison, here's a picture of the former roof and the former umbrellas as well. I feel like we're seeing a lot of love at Hollywood Studios ahead of the anniversary. It makes me smile because I love that park, even after they took everything I loved away from me. And I still love that park. So we're seeing like the new hydraulic, the hydraulics Coke kiosk or restaurant, whatever you want to call it, going up with the nod to 1989. They're finally ripping the sign off. I know the Oscars, the service vehicle at Oscars is out for refurb right now, with the idea it will be back in a beautiful refurbished state in time for May 1st. It's great to see these little things. I love to see these little projects, especially, and it does seem around park anniversaries, even the park management gets a little nostalgic, which is good. It's all heading in the right direction, folks. You could be mad about me being positive, but you can't deny the results. They're in the news. This program is brought to you by our official travel agent sponsor, Be Our Guest Vacations. Your dream vacation begins with Be Our Guest and their concierge team of expert vacation planners. Head on over to beourguestvacations.com/WDWNT, and their team will design your next magical vacation, from the Walt Disney World and Disneyland resorts to the Disney Cruise Line to Adventures by Disney and more. They're also able to book unforgettable VIP tours where you and your group can experience the ultimate park day. And the best part is their concierge services are 100% free, so book today. Speaking of those exciting refurbishment projects at the studios, the One Man's Dream Theater at Walt Disney Presents at Hollywood Studios is currently closed for refurbishment. The Walt Disney Presents exhibit, the live-action Ariel meet and greet, and the Percy Jackson and the Olympians exhibit are still open. While the theater is closed, guests are not able to exit through it and will have to exit through the main entrance. The Walt Disney World website initially indicated that Walt Disney Presents in total would be closed from February 12th through March 1st. The closure was later removed. It now seems that closure was removed because only the theater is closed, and Disney likely didn't want guests to think the entire facility would be shuttered. The theater is at the end of the exhibit. It features currently, well, when it's not featuring a preview like Percy Jackson and the Olympians, it features Walt Disney One Man's Dream, which is a film that debuted for the 100 Years of Magic celebration back in 2001. And we've talked about this here on the show before, but similar to Muppet Vision, they had the seats were just rotted. Like the seat covers were destroyed. The armrests, the wood armrests, the varnish, the finish, whatever you want to call it, was completely worn off of them. The carpeting was gross. Like, the place was in disarray. And the other thing I've talked about before is every time they have one of these previews, so these previews are paid for by the studio or Disney Plus or whoever. Some other department of the company pays for these previews. So what they would do is, obviously they want to show these previews in high definition, 4K and such. So what they did was they bought a brand new projector to show these previews. So what they do is every time they switch over, they go up with a ladder, take down the new fancy projector, and then put the film projector, kids look up what film is, they put a film projector back up with the One Man's Dream film, which has not been reprinted in ages. So it is very grainy and has a lot of jumping, and it's just not going well for that cut of the film. So this is great. We obviously, if it's just the theater, you have to assume this is a big theater refurbishment. So I am so happy they're finally doing this. Can't wait to see that theater looking good. And I am praying that we are finally getting the digital remastering of One Man's Dream. Because One Man's Dream, I don't think anyone has ever done a better job telling Walt Disney's story in such a short amount of time. It's a fantastic film. Love it. I hope they're not changing it. We really just want a digital update. Please don't remove the redhead scene that's still in there at the end. That would make me very sad. But this is another nice thing to see. The Hey Disney service from Amazon is now available at all Walt Disney World Resort hotel rooms. The service was first announced at the Destination D23 in 2021. Disney began installing the Mickey-inspired devices in hotel rooms in late 2022. The complimentary service uses Amazon's Alexa technology on Echo devices. It's a voice assistant that uses more than 25 Disney characters to answer guest questions. Guests can use Hey Disney to have Mickey wake them up, order room service, learn the weather forecast, hear stories, play trivia, and more. In addition to Mickey, some of the featured characters include Minnie Mouse, Tiana, Tow Mater, Groot, Fozzie Bear, BB-8, Genie, and Dory. The Hey Disney voice assistant is also available on home Echo devices, but now in every single hotel room. Disney's Port Orleans Resort hosted another successful Mardi Gras parade this year, featuring Princess Tiana and a number of golf carts decorated by cast members, where the theme this year truly was Walt Disney World parades, both past and present. There are nods to Spectro Magic, Mickey's Jammin' Jungle Parade, Share a Dream Come True Parade. So much good stuff in here, and the cast members killed it. These are basically, they convert the Pargo carts into floats in this parade, and different departments of cast members have a competition building these. This is one of my favorite Disney World traditions. I love it. Please go watch it, because some of the floats are very, very fun. I mean, they're all very fun, but some of them bring back a lot of memories for me, because I'm quite old and remember all of these parades. So go check out the video. It's right here on our channel. The Walt Disney Company subsidiary Disney Enterprises Incorporated has filed a patent for a new ticketing and admission system. The patent filed last June and published this month is called Systems and Methods to Produce a Physical Article that Provides Admission Authorization to an Event which Correlates to a Digital Asset from a Temporary Wallet. Wow. The patent describes a system of connected physical and digital tickets. You can read the abstract on our website. I won't bore you all with that now. But the system would help prevent counterfeit tickets with terms of the transaction written into the digital code and the data protected. While the ticket is described as primarily digital, a physical printed copy would also be available. The background section of the permit states that the existing admission system may provide admission authorizations to events or locations, but may not enable users who obtain the admission authorizations to obtain digital assets that are associated with the events or locations, which may be collectible assets. Disney did not comment on the patent application to Orlando Inno or share a timeline for when this technology could be implemented, but Disney is very worried about people stealing admission, you would think, based on this permit. Artist Josh Agel, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but you know him as Shag, has posted on Instagram that Disney has canceled a mug he designed based on Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room due to concerns over cultural appropriation. The mug depicted 2 tiki gods seen in the attraction, but Shag noted that Disney was wary of cultural appropriation and being offensive to some people. His original Instagram post can still be seen. It's still up. This isn't the first time Disney has addressed concerns over cultural appropriation and sensitivity involving Polynesian-inspired attractions at the theme parks. The Jungle Cruise and the Trader Sam's locations have seen changes to remove symbology and stereotypes. Trader Sam got a new backstory on the Jungle Cruise that carried over to the bars, and merchandise was altered to remove tiki masks, and drinks at the bars were renamed, including the shrunken zombie head. So this is going to be a sensitive topic. Obviously, the Enchanted Tiki Room is a product of tiki culture in America in the 1950s and 60s, you know, when our war veterans came back from Polynesia and these tropical locations and tried to emulate some of that culture, not all of it in the best way. Obviously, Americans, you know, many of us have embraced tiki culture, but there are obviously some things in tiki culture that are a little iffy, right? So, you know, there has been fear, right? We've seen with Splash Mountain, what we're seeing with Country Bears, we've seen changes to Pirates of the Caribbean, all of these cultural sensitivity changes. One of the top attractions on that list, other than Peter Pan, which we're still waiting for the replacement to that Native American scene, one of the top attractions on that list is Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. And I mean, that's a great fear of mine. I love the Tiki Room. I would hate to see at least the original at Disneyland go away or be altered in some way. But it is interesting that at least in merchandise or new iterations of these depictions, Disney is trying to steer clear of them, which I think makes sense. I understand that, but Shag made a very public statement that he may never work with Disney again because of this. And also he went, what I don't agree with is he went through an independent company to produce the mug, which I don't feel he has the right to do, right? Like, let's remember, those are absolutely based on art from the Tiki Room, which Disney owns. Mark Davis and, you know, Raleigh Crump could be, Mark probably did the original designs and Raleigh probably sculpted it. You know, those are the artisans who created that. That's not Shag's to own. So I think it's weird that he's, you know, producing it with someone else. And if I was Disney, I'd be mad about that too. But let me know in the comments how you feel about this. I'm sure you will anyway. But please keep it kind and courteous. I'll ask you as always. You know, today's show is also brought to you by Park Candy. Park Candy provided me this great shirt. You can pick up yours at this link, wwnt.link/parkcandy. Use code WDWNT to save 15% off. They don't only have shirts for people like me. They have dresses, they have bottle openers, they have bags, they have all sorts of great stuff. So check them out, please. And every purchase you make with that code helps support WDW News Today. Also, of course, we are still selling Dinosaur Gertie. You guys have... we have sold more than we possibly imagined. We actually had to double the order because the demand has been so high, and we want to make sure all of you get one. We will eventually cut off orders, though, so we've doubled the order size, but you know, that's probably going to be it for these. So when they're gone, they're gone. Please go get your Dinosaur Gertie. A lot of love and care went into designing this, and I love her. She's great. She's my favorite. Go get yours now before they're gone. And of course, a quick plug. The reason we made Gertie is it's the 35th anniversary of Disney's Hollywood Studios, and we're celebrating with Stage 89, which will be the largest in-person gathering or in-person reunion of Imagineers and creatives who built the Disney MGM Studios ever. So those that brought you the great movie ride, Superstar Television, the Monster Sound Show, and of course, in honor of its 30th anniversary, the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, and also Muppet Vision 3D and the Muppet attractions that weren't even built are all getting together for a big shindig right here at WDWNT Celebration. You can join us in person or grab your streaming ticket now. The streaming tickets are half price only through March 15th. They're only $10. And remember, folks, we are not profiting at all on this event. All proceeds go to Give Kids the World. So come celebrate the history and legacy of Disney MGM Studios, Hollywood Studios, and the Tower of Terror, and also help raise money for a great charity at the same time. Registration now open at stage89.com. We also have their individual tickets for the meet and greet event, which will be happening just down the road at the Orlando Brewing Company, which will be open by then. Those are just $50, and you get a special lithograph if you come to that event as well. So please check it out again, stage89.com. Disneyland Resort cast members from the characters and parade departments are unionizing with the Actors Equity Association. The union represents 51,000 actors and stage managers across the United States, including Walt Disney World performers. The group is calling themselves Magic United and is circulating union authorization cards to 1,700 cast members. They will seek voluntary recognition from Disney Resort Entertainment when a majority of the cast members have signed. If Disney declines to recognize the union, Actors Equity Association will file the cards with the National Labor Relations Board, and they will then schedule a union recognition election, and Disney will be required by law to sit down with the equities representatives and negotiate a contract. The bargaining unit includes character cast members, hosts, trainers, and leads. Most Disneyland workers outside of the characters and parade performers are unionized. Equity already represents hundreds of performers again at Walt Disney World in Orlando, and they have a long and successful bargaining relationship with Disney, they claim. They said, "We look forward to extending that work to include these cast members in Anaheim and applaud them for their incredible work on the campaign thus far. We chose Actors Equity Association as our union because we've seen how well they work with Disney in Florida, on Broadway, and on tour," Magic United leadership said. "Our Walt Disney World colleagues exemplify how you can be pro-Disney and pro-union at the same time. And furthermore, the vast majority of our park colleagues here in Anaheim already have union representation. It's a win-win. When we can speak with a collective voice, we have a clearer, more productive conversation with our employer. Ultimately, this will result in a better experience for all cast members and managers, and most importantly, our guests." A petition is available for supporters of the Magic United Union to sign as well. A new sign has been added to the queue of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at Disneyland, following reported issues with guests not realizing they're meant to sit with other parties. The sign depicts an illustration of the ride vehicle filled with 5 guests in each of the 2 rows. When we saw it, the sign was located in a corner by the 2 train signage before the load area. The sign reads, 5 guests per row, lap seating permitted, be prepared to sit with another party. Of course, reportedly, guests boarding the attraction have not realized that you're meant to fill in all the space and sit with other parties in the ride vehicle rather than keeping your entire party to 1 row or 1 train car. Now these signs can help guests be informed before getting to the load area and to make sure that it's shortened. This will actually shorten the wait time if people do follow it. The full menus for the 2024 California Adventure Food and Wine Festival have been released. You can read them at DisneylandNewsToday.com. Otherwise, I'd be here for 10 minutes reading them, and you don't want that. But celebrate California's incredible bounty and vibrant cuisine, entertainment, and more when the event returns March 1st through April 22nd, 2024. For the absolute latest on these stories and all that didn't make it into today's show, be sure to check WDWNT.com and follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. You can support the entire team behind this show by joining the WDWNT Inner Globe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. Get access to exclusive content, discounted show and event tickets, and more. Special shout out to all of our WIGS members watching who make this show happen every single week. For the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is Tom Corliss saying, enjoy the rest of your today and have a great, big, beautiful Valentine's Day.
WDW News Tonight is our weekly comedy show combining the news of the week, comedy segments, thoughtful discussions, insane characters, parody commercials, games, and more. Watch live on Thursdays at 9 p.m. and become a Wigs member to get access to a bonus post show. Watch WDW News Tonight episodes anytime and live on YouTube, or get the audio-only version on iTunes and other podcast services.